Hey guys, Micah here from the CCL. I want to talk to you today about the five-step prayer model. And the five-step prayer model, you think, man, do I really need 5 steps to pray? No, you don't need any steps to pray. You can just go pray for somebody anytime you want. But what I've found personally is that a lot of people that are good Christian people that have followed Jesus a long time, that have a very sincere and deep relationship with him, sometimes still get scared of praying out loud, especially praying out loud like for another person. And so, if you're like in a pastoral, I mean, you can pray for the food, right? But if you're like in a pastoral situation where somebody comes forward and they want prayer, or if you go visit somebody in the hospital and they want prayer, sometimes people are like, I don't know what to do here. And so the five-step prayer model is an easy way to pray for people that kind of covers all the bases. And so it's really, if you've been watching these videos, you know that we talk about reflective listening. The five-step prayer model is really like reflective listening for prayers, for people that are praying. It's just a reflective listening model. And so, we talk about it this way. We say, I just ask you the question, do you pray? And you say, of course, I do pray. So it's the five-step prayer model is IDP, and then up from the bottom, IDP. IDP. And this is actually, there's a Hebrew memory structure called chiasm or chiasm, and it goes like this. You start up here, and then you work down, and then you work back. And so these match, and this thing's in the middle. That's the key thing. And so for the five-step prayer model, it's just kind of a chiastic structure, right? And the first step in the five-step prayer model is interview. Interview. It says interview in case you can't tell. Interview. The first thing that you do when somebody walks up to you and they say, hey, I need you to pray for my aunt. She's in the hospital. You say, okay, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Tell me about your aunt. Tell me what's going on with her. How can we be praying? The golden question is always, how can we be praying for you? How can I be praying for you? How can I pray for you, right? And so we start out with this interview. Ask questions. Pretend you're Walter Cronkite, right? Like, hey, tell me about this. Oh, man, she's sick. How long has that been going on? Because part of the purpose of it is to just kind of like with listening, part of the purpose of praying for someone in a care situation is for them to know that you care for them. And also we're going to pray to the Lord and Creator of the world, but like helping them to feel cared for and heard is going to be a significant part of this. So the first thing we do is we interview. The next thing we do is we diagnose. And when I say diagnose, you ain't a doctor. You are not a psychiatrist. You did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. When I say diagnose, I don't mean that you're going to say, well, clearly the problem is this, and you should just do this. That's not what we're going to do. Diagnose means this is what I'm going to pray for. So this is important because we're often not as good at listening as we think we are. I have on several occasions, someone's come up to me, and I'm like, I don't need to do this step. I'm going to pray what they want me to, I know what they want. And so someone's come up to me to pray. Two examples come to mind real easily. One person came up to me and they said, hey, can you pray for me? I just lost my job. And I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. So I start praying for this person who lost their job and praying for them to find a new job. And at the end, after I prayed for them, they said, I'm not looking for a new job. I'm transitioning into retirement. And I just, these are the things that that are going to be a big deal for that as I move into this. And I went, oh, okay, I totally missed the ball on that. Another time, and I'm ashamed to say this has happened to me twice at least. Someone's come to me and said, "Hey, I need you to pray for my father, my grandfather. He had a heart attack or a stroke or has cancer or whatever it is, and it's really a bad situation." And so I start praying for them, asking, "Okay, God, heal this person." And they're like, "No, hospice has been called. They've already said all their goodbyes. We're praying actually that the Lord would take them quickly." Oh, okay, I missed the ball on that. And so diagnose, the purpose of this step is just to say, hey, this is what I think I'm praying for you. Is that what you want me to pray for you, right? So we're going to interview, we're going to diagnose, and then the P here stands for Pray. Pray. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple things about prayer. First of all, in a care situation, I'm praying up front at the front of the room, I'm on a prayer team, or I'm in somebody's hospital room, I will generally, in an appropriate way, so there's some caveats there I'm going to get into, but generally speaking, I will put my hand on someone that I'm praying for. Now, that is not because the prayer doesn't work unless there's a physical connection. It's got nothing to do with that. But Jesus consistently, when Jesus was healing people, when he was, whether it's a leper that's not been touched in 5 years, or whether, whoever it is, Jesus would consistently touch people when he was ministering to them. And there is an appropriate, and we're going to talk about appropriate in a minute, there's an appropriate ministry of touch, of just saying, look, I'm with you, I'm here with you, I'm for you. Now, let's talk what's appropriate and what's not. First of all, I'm fairly cautious about the fact that, a lot of people, sometimes people do not want to be touched, and that's okay. So I never touch anyone ever without saying, hey, can I put my hand on your shoulder, right? Or can I, hey, can I put my hand on your arm here? I never touch anyone without them being okay with it first, because I don't want to seem creepy to them. And basically, I don't want them distracted by anything that I'm doing. I want us to be focused on Jesus. And so don't assume. I never assume that anybody wants a hug, that anybody wants a pat on the back, that anybody like that. Just, some people don't like to be touched. I've got a lot of vets, a lot of friends that are veterans, and generally speaking, they're okay. If I say, hey, can I put my hand on your shoulder while I pray for you? They're okay with that. But if I just reach out and grab them, sometimes that doesn't go well. So, interviews, diagnose, pray. The other thing with prayer is that when I am praying for someone, and this is going to be weird, and I just want you to keep an open mind, consider praying with your eyes open. Now, I know culturally, we generally close our eyes when we pray. And when I'm at the table with my kids, and if they're not closing their eyes when I'm praying, I'm going to be upset with them. But in a pastoral situation, first of all, there's nothing in the Bible that says you have to close your eyes to pray. And in a pastoral situation, a lot of times I find that it's actually helpful to be having an eye on someone while I'm praying for them. Now, I don't want you to be, I tell my kids, close your eyes, because I don't want them to be distracted by everything going around. And if you find that you're distracted, go ahead and close your eyes. But when I'm praying for someone, a lot of times if I'm praying, I'm looking at them, and I will see things happen in them during the prayer that I would otherwise be ignorant of. I would not notice that they started crying, that they had facial reactions to certain things. So, you don't have to do that, but just consider the possibility of actually putting your hand on someone appropriately if it's valued. And consider the possibility of just praying for them with your eyes open. But the prayer itself is not complicated. God doesn't hear us. Jesus is really clear. God doesn't hear us because of fancy phrases, because of ornate language that we use. You don't have to pray like you're a King James Bible. Just talk to God the way you would talk to a person. Your prayers can just sound like they sound like you talk, right? So we're going to interview. We're going to diagnose. We're going to pray. After the prayer, this is the step that, again, I will frequently miss unless I'm following the 5-step prayer model. We're going to debrief. We're going to debrief, and we're going to say, hey, we finished praying for this person, and we asked the question, hey, how you doing, right? Did it feel like, did you have any thoughts while we were praying? Did you have any feelings? I've just been stunned by the number of people that go into a prayer very broken and hurting. And I say, okay, hey, sir or ma'am or whatever their name is, how you doing? You have any thoughts, any feelings? And it's actually amazing to me how many people have said, yeah, I just felt this calm come over me while you were praying. It's a beautiful thing, right? So debrief. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to instruct. I might say, hey, you know what? that I meant to say this here with the debrief. A lot of times somebody will say, it's not all the time, but frequently, while you were praying, I just realized that also this other thing is going on. I say, well, let's pray for that too. So we'll just kind of go back up here, right? So is there anything else you wanted me to pray for? Anything we didn't get into? Anything you want to talk? Okay. Instruct is always give someone a next step. If you're praying for somebody after church next week, or after church, the next step might be, hey, come back next week. All right, just keep coming, right? Come back next week and let's talk through. I just prayed for your auntie. Hey, come back next week and tell me what's going on with your auntie, right? Maybe you're in a hospital and it's before the surgery, and you pray with the family. And afterward, the instruct here might be you're giving them some kind of instruction of a next step. Hey, I'll have my phone on me. Please text me when the surgery's over and tell me kind of what's going on. So this is it. IDPDI. I do pray. I do pray. Interview, diagnose, pray, debrief, instruct. And that is a simple way to pray for others. I know I say it's simple. The first time you do it, it's going to feel complicated. After you've done it a couple times, it gets easier and easier. So maybe write yourself a little cheat sheet. You don't have to write it on your hand, but write yourself a little cheat sheet, practice it, see what you think, and see if it doesn't make you more comfortable as you're praying for others. Thanks, guys. Bye.